Good morning to you. It's this profession that we're in is always a test for you for sure, and it's the most disappointing thing is when you have to sit before um, the great fans that you work for and the administration you work for, and you know you've lost two football games that were winnable games, and that stinks, and it's no fun, and um, it's hard to take. It's just one thing to get beat, and that happens sometimes, and certainly not lessening Arkansas. So, man, congratulations to Coach Pittman. He did a great job in rebuilding his team through the portal and got some great additions there, and they're playing really solid football. Um, but certainly it was a game we felt like was winnable, and when you don't come through and get that, it stinks, and I understand it and get it and hate it. Having said that, there's no better staff that I'd rather be with in the fire or players, and looking forward to going back to work and getting prepared for a very, very difficult opponent in Oklahoma, who has one of the best defenses I've seen in a while. They really are so multiple and can run and hit and strike, and they're really talented, and appears offensively they got a little spark last week at the end of the game by bringing in the freshman quarterback that was pretty dynamic. And when I look back at the Arkansas game, it went through obviously every single play, and man, our defense, God, I thought their effort was incredible. I thought they played hard and physical, and got two interceptions, fourth down stop. I thought they played the ball downfield better in one-on-one situations than we've been. I think Champ was obviously playing really well, and his surgery went well, and he's in good spirits. I thought we contained their explosives outside the quarterback scrambles, obviously, and but I just thought we played really hard, and you take his rushes away, and they have very little in the rushing game at all, and that's what we needed. The things we didn't do well is we didn't contain him very well, and then the third down and longs. We gave them 2 on penalties, 3rd and 10 or more, and 5, and him scrambling around and us getting out of position. One that really hurt. When our roof player left the middle of the field and gave him a touchdown off of it. So, but the effort was good. I think there is improvement, believe it or not, but certainly we've got to improve getting off the field in 3rd and long, particularly when offensively we're moving the ball consistently, but unfortunately turning it over half the possessions that we have it. Them getting off the field on those 3rd and downs gives us a few more chances to not turn it over, because we did effectively move the football. We just obviously losing 7 points on the run, on the fumble in the end zone is a big swing, and then in the field goal range, 2 other of the turnovers. So we can't turn the football over, and obviously we've got to coach the quarterbacks better and running backs better in ball security and decision making to be able to be an effective offense. And so we'll look at every aspect of that, and with Kent, Jesse, and myself working with the quarterbacks this week. I thought the play calling from Nick's and the offensive staff, all of us that were involved in that, was I thought he did a nice job with it and had a good plan. I thought DJ and his staff had a good plan, even on 3rd down, even though we have 1 or 2 guys that don't play the right technique, or that don't play the right contain. And truthfully, not to complain too much, but we had a few penalties that weren't called on those 3rd downs that I think really were critical and hurt us. But we've got to coach them better for sure. I love the energy our kids played with, and I know they'll come back and fight this week in a tough battle we have coming.
Hugh, at this point, what would you say is your offensive identity? Like, what do you, in a general sense, what are you trying to accomplish?
We're exactly what we're doing. I think we're good at it. Other than 10 turnovers in 2 games, I think there's open receivers. I think we're running the ball effectively. I'm not sure why we would want to change any of that, other than maybe we should not. Maybe we should call a few less shot plays, maybe, or landmarks. They're not really sharp shot plays, and maybe just stick to the RPO game. And we got to evaluate all of that, but don't feel like any. I mean, go watch the game, and you see. I mean, we're moving the football, and we just. So I believe in what we're doing, and I don't think there's any changes that need to be made other than 10 turnovers is tough in 2 football games.
Hugh, like you said, you guys are moving the ball, a lot of explosive plays, really good yards per play. Just how confident are you that you guys will be able to clean up the turnovers and continue to kind of do what you're doing on offense?
Yeah, I'm always confident. But I hadn't met with the quarterbacks yet, and just kind of hear them talk me through, the decision that was made, and see if we did an adequate job of preparing them for that given play, or if it's just something they saw, or just a poor decision. We've got to figure out all of that, and if we haven't coached them well enough on that given play for the coverage that was given on it, that's something we've got to look at ourselves about. If they can explain it totally in detail, then we got to expect better from them also. So it's kind of a combination of things that we'll have to find out when we go through it with them here in just a little bit.
Hugh, is that a positive right now? Obviously, turnovers are what they are, but you guys lead the country, I think, in explosive pass plays, averaging over 6 yards a carry. That it has worked when it's there. So is that something that you can build on? That hey, you just got to eliminate those other ones.
Yeah, it's sickening, truthfully, to know that you're averaging almost 7 yards a rush and creating explosive plays and not scoring the points that should come with what those stats say. But I've never been on any team that turned the football over and won football games. And, particularly it just seemed like the other day, we could not get a break, at any moment, whether it was an instant replay or us turning it over, going in the end zone, or, it's one of these testing times that you're going through. And, but yeah, that is encouraging. I'll stand before them today and tell them the truth, about here's why you're not winning football games. It's pretty simple. Let's watch these third down breakdowns, and let's watch these drives that are ending with no points because of X, Y, or Z. Whether it's a bad call by our staff, or whether it's a turnover, or whether it's whatever it is, and we all have to own that and try to figure out a way to fix it.
Hugh, you mentioned on Saturday you thought Peyton was pretty solid when he came in. After watching the film, kind of what's your evaluation of that? What do you expect out of the quarterback situation this week?
Yeah, it's going to be a battle this week. Try to figure out who can master the plan against all these fronts that we're going to face at Oklahoma. You watch the first drive, and you believe, Hankey is making the right decisions. Until we get to the 25-yard line or whatever it is, and we've got to check down wide open, and he makes that decision, and then made 2 other poor ones, but looked really, really sharp. At times, Peyton in the second half looked really sharp, had a pick. I think the ball was catchable. And, so again, I know quarterbacks get the blame all the time, but I thought it was a well thrown ball and the right decision. We do need to clean up a few other things that I do think he could have done to start the third quarter. The first play, he makes a read that's not the right read, and it put us behind the chains. And we're dang good, truthfully, when we're in 2nd and 6, and we're not so good when we're in 2nd, 3rd, and 10. And so we can't. The margin of error for us right now is so small. That one decision, and I'm not trying to beat him up on the game on that one decision, but I'm just saying that's how critical it feels. It feels like it's kind of like life and death with our margin of error right now, particularly if you're going to turn the ball over in those plays, because if you make the correct read there and hand the ball off, I think it's a 5-6 yard gain, and now you're in 2nd and 4. And instead we were, I think, 2nd and 11. And so those are the things that we've got to meet and get cleaned up as coaches and make sure we're not continuously making those decisions. Defenses are going to win some plays. They're pretty good. They're well coached, and they got some athletes over there in this league. But we can't do that for them with a poor decision. And so that comes to us coaching them properly and making sure they understand the game plan and the execution. But I did think Peyton played very solidly. Let's see, I don't know. I don't know if I brought my drive chart, but we had 5 drives in the second half. One was kind of the last, deal, but of the 4, he led us to 2 touchdowns in those. So, I think thought he had a solid second half.
Coach, you've said repeatedly that as a coaching staff, you guys are graded on performance. Were you able to identify the why for the quarterbacks? You've got 8 interceptions between the 2 losses here. Why these guys aren't seeing the field, and how do you coach it differently? You pulled Hank at halftime. What went into that decision, and how do you manage this?
Well, really went into that decision. I had experienced that 2 weeks earlier and wasn't going to continue down that road, and it has nothing to do with my confidence in Hank, but at that moment, our team, I think we needed something else to try to give us a shot. I mean, we're in a close game there, and I know that the plan is effective and working. So let's try to find somebody that takes care of it a little better on this given night, and that was the reason.
Hugh, when you look at turnovers this year, penalties, and just the amount of things you've talked about, whether it's drop balls or missed blocks, even going back to Ole Miss and Liberty where those teams had a lot of turnovers, is there anything you can attribute or pinpoint to what kind of looks like a trend in undisciplined football?
I don't think the penalties were terrible for us at Liberty. I'll have to look, or Ole Miss. I don't remember that. We had some critical ones. Our offense has had very few penalties this year. Defensively, we've had some interferences, and then a very foolish one that gave them a first down on a late hit out of bounds, which that can't happen. And we've got to get things like that fixed for sure. Interceptions are various of reasons for sure, without looking at the totality of exactly why they happen. I mean, I know why the 8 that we've had this year are. It's hard for me to explain them truthfully.
There's already been some shuffling in the secondary before Champ went down.
Yeah.
How do the pieces fit, and who are you going to need to be counting on now?
Yeah, we're thin, for sure. Kite and JC are going to have to play a lot of snaps, for sure, and going to have to get Jalen Crawford ready as a freshman, and that's really what we're down to. So those 4 guys are going to have to get a lot of reps because we kind of would like to keep Keontae at nickel. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
Hey, Coach, we saw Alex McPherson taking some kicks and warm-ups last week. How close is he to coming back? And then you mentioned the 2 Oklahoma quarterbacks. What have you kind of seen out of those 2, and what different challenges do both of those 2 quarterbacks present?
Alex, I leave that up to the doctors, and he's kicking some in practice right now. Not sure exactly what they're thinking. He looked pretty accurate last week from shorter distances. I don't think he's, been out there kicking those 50 and 60 yarders like he's capable of doing last year, but he's definitely getting closer, I think. Towns has been very, very solid. I think he's missed only one field goal, and that was the 60-something yarder in the rain. That was kind of a tough ask. His kickoffs have been really nice. So, and then Oklahoma quarterbacks, two different deals for sure. So, second guys like we faced the last few weeks, runs around, makes plays with his feet as much as he does his arms. So it's a challenge if that's who they go with. And the other kid's a little more pocket style RPO guy. He can run a little bit too, but definitely the other guy was a little more dynamic.
Hugh, there's a lot of questions about your team, whether it be the bad penalties and turnovers and trends and how do you fix it and that thing. But my question is, at what point do you draw the line of we can't fix this to we just got to play somebody else? We got to get somebody else in there that won't make bad decisions.
Yeah, I don't know. That's something you take week by week. We obviously love our players and believe in them, and you want to believe you can help them get out of those situations and get out of those decisions, and certainly we should be able to get out of having a late hit penalty. I don't think we've had a ton of those, but I remember 2 in the last 2 weeks, and that's two too many. And so we've got to get out of those for sure. You're going to get some penalties on interference, but I do think we're getting better playing the ball and not being as handsy. I thought Ken Lee really improved in that this week. So did J.C. Hart. But we're going to keep believing in our young men for sure. And I know we got Holden sitting there too that is a quality player, and we got to figure out, does he fit into the equation also? But truthfully, right now, I think this week you're looking at Hank and Peyton kind of battling it out to see who gets the nod.
Coach, Keandre Lambert-Smith was probably the silver lining offensively of Saturday's game. Are you expecting more out of him going forward, or are you looking for other receivers to step up as well?
Yeah, I don't know that we could expect much more out of him, really. I mean, he's playing dang near every snap, and is playing at a high level, making plays when they come to him. Yeah, we do need more out of some other guys. Robert had a difficult drop on a 3rd and 10. That was a really good throw, and that's not like him. And those are big plays in those games that convert one of those drives that we get to keep going. Cam's hopefully gets healthier this week and gets back to playing like he did in fall camp, and young Malcolm and Perry keep coming on for sure, and Camden Brown keep playing his role, and along with Sam, and we like that room. I mean, that room has got some depth and and solid play, and it'd be nice to see, in 2 of the games that we've had all the turnovers, it'd sure be nice to see what that room would have really looked like in totality if you continue those drives where you get to see how they end other than us turning it over. I would have loved to have seen that. I think you'd see more guys with more production than just Keandre.
Coach, this is going off an earlier question, but as you go into this week and you've talked about yourself, this coaching staff looking in the mirror, how do you attack things differently coaching-wise this week as this intensity really ratchets up in conference play?
Oh, man, I told our staff this morning that I love being in the fire with them. And if you're not willing to be in the fire in this profession, in this league, you probably need to go, I don't know, do something different. And I love the way they come to work. I love the energy they bring, and we're not changing anything. Obviously, addressing the turnovers and the third downs that cost us this game. We'll address those, but but we're not changing, who we are and what our culture is and what we believe in, and so not really changing anything.
Hey, Coach, from your studies of Brett Venables over the year, his defenses, whether it be at Oklahoma or Clemson, what makes that side of the ball so difficult to play against? And if teams take on the personality of their coach, why has his defense been able to be so successful over a long period of time?
Yeah, this is, I don't know who exactly is running the defense, truthfully, whether it's him or the young man he hired from Jacksonville State, who I actually played against when I was at Liberty, and I thought did an outstanding job. Obviously Brett's got his hand in it, I'm sure. Brent, I'm sorry, but he's known as a great defensive coach, and I got to meet Coach Venables at we both had young kids, and we were at vacation, and I see him sitting in the pool, and we kind of, we had young kids then, the kind where you're not playing golf on vacation, you're babysitting your kids in the pool and stuff, and so we got to spend a better part of a week together there, and really liked him as a human being, and I think he's about the right things and runs the right kind of program, and obviously his kids play really, really hard for him, and he does a great job defensively, and it's a lot to prepare for sure.
Could you just talk about the turnovers and the kind of what they cause otherwise besides just losing a possession? You don't get as many plays, you don't get as much time of possession. Defense has to be on the field a lot more.
That's the story of the first half. I don't know what the time of possession was, but it wasn't much for us, and we probably had as many yards as they had, but defense was on the field way too much with short fields and turnovers like that. Usually, obviously, they cut down your plays and opportunities to score points, and they usually provide the other team with great scoring opportunities, and that's been the story of the two losses.
Hugh, offensive line-wise, you guys stuck with, I'm pretty sure, same five the whole way. Do you feel like you guys have got that kind of solidified with that group now that everybody's healthy?
Yeah, I thought they played well, other than two pressures. Thought they played really, really well, and really had some nice running lanes. Not sure we averaged a run, but it was pretty solid, and we're still probably, Joyner and Tate and Ronan are still factors to be ready to play for sure. But that's heck, every possession, and we didn't get that many. It didn't feel like until you felt like you had to go with, and it wasn't like we got 100 plays. So we went with who we thought was the best combination pretty much all day, I think.
Coach, can you talk about your running back room here? You guys are moving the ball on the ground, averaging a pretty good amount of yards per carry. How do you get the running backs more involved this week versus Oklahoma and get on the right side of that run-pass ratio?
Yeah, the scary thing is, I watched the explosive reel first thing yesterday, and there's been one explosive run all year on them, and that's more than 10 yards, and it was a reverse. So that was not a comfortable feeling to see that. You kind of take the Tennessee game out of it a little bit, because they played Tennessee totally different than they played the three safety odd wide look. I haven't seen them in that in any other game, so I think that they may play us that way. I don't know. I doubt it. But if you take that game out, there's only one explosive run. So we do believe in our running backs. We believe in our running game. We were meeting just then, finalizing our base down runs, and we got to figure out a way to win first down with some runs, and probably need to operate a little more. We did a study yesterday on ourselves, self-scouting wise, and when we stay in our run game, RPO world, on second down, we have converted the third downs a high percentage of the time. When we've gone to a drop back pass, the percentages drops off quite considerably. So, it means we're either running the ball effectively or making good decisions in the RPO world.